Hey everyone, looks like we are live. We made it to yet another Wednesday. I hope everyone is having a great week so far. It is the first live stream, the first autumn live stream, I think. Yeah, so happy autumn. Summer is over. I hope your summer was really great and you really enjoyed it. As you can see here, we are getting really far with our portrait of Persephone. So, painting the mythical portrait. Hey, Mr. Air Todd, how are you today? All the way from San Diego. How's your mouth feeling? Dwayne, how you doing? All the way from San Luis Obispo. Go Mustangs, my friend. And we have Honey all the way from Rockville Center, New York. Great to see you. So, Dwayne, how's everything going with you today? Rick Lotter all the way from Canada. How's it going? British Columbia, am I right, sir? So hopefully I'm right. I got Canada right. So let's see if I got British Columbia right. Always like to know where the amazing people are from who actually take time out of their week to hang out with me during my live stream, you know, so that's important. Oz, how are you from the Atlanta area? So cool to see you. I'm so glad you're here. And Dwayne and everyone, you guys are and girls are always, you know, so amazing and so happy to see yous. Really am. And so this is great. As you can see with this mythical portrait, we are really almost done. Dwayne says, all's good. Taking a few days off to mess around. That's great, Dwayne. Just decompress, relax, get some relaxation, right? You deserve it. You work really hard. And Todd says that he had a checkup for the stitches and he got back in 2 weeks. Oh, okay. Cool. So now you're in good shape. You're on the mend. So thank God. So glad about that. And what a great group we have so far. It's always a pleasure to see everyone. Let me see if I can get the picture of Angela, the model. Is this her? Yep, there she is. So, in between then and now, I went ahead and added a landscape because she's supposed to be Persephone in late autumn. So I went ahead and did a late autumn landscape, and I was really happy with it. And I wanted something to be kind of monochromatic and I can put in the distance and, you know, not compete with her. But one of the things I did was to continue this kind of triangle thing. So I had a larger tree here with a smaller tree, kind of bringing back that kind of direction. So the background isn't arbitrary how I set things up. How I set things up really is important to the whole compositional structure, you know, as a old master painting would be. Colette, how are you all the way from Wisconsin? How are you today? I'm so glad you're here. So that is exciting and glad you're here, Colette. So what my game plan is, now we have the background and then we have the foreground. So the first thing I want to do is start assimilating Persephone into the background. And one of the things that I'm going to do is start doing some of the strands of hair, you know, and maybe some soft edges, stuff like that, to make sure that she feels like she's in this space, right? That's very important. So we want to make sure she's not feeling like she's cut out and pasted on a photograph or whatever ever on the background. So that's very important. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start doing some paintbrush techniques, and let's go ahead and make this happen. So here goes. I will less of me and more of the painting. Let's see, which one is it? Yep, there we go. Okay, and So now I'm looking at my reference. I'm going to pull up Pure Ref. If you haven't used Pure Ref, I really, really highly recommend it. If you work from your computer, it's really just super amazing. It really, really is. So I have my Persephone over here. Bring that over. And now my job is to start coming in and get some really nice background work. Honey says, this painting is looking lovely. Thank you, honey. I appreciate that so much. I'm working so hard on this painting. I'm really enjoying it. And I really appreciate that so much. So what we're going to do is we're going to do black, but with a little bit of burnt umber, because when hairs are coming out, into the background, they're not as dark as what you would see when the hair is in mass, right? Patty, how are you all the way from Illinois? Great to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to mix some detail burnt umber. And we're going to put some detail burnt umber here. And then I'm going to, I love this smoke, right? I'm always using this detail smoke black. Really love it, and very important part of every painting. Seems to be more important in the end of the painting. And I'm just going to mix some of that. And of course, 4011. Gotta have the 4011, of course. And today I am using Wicked Paints by Createx. And we'll mix that really well. And I like doing dry brush technique, as you all know. Hey, what's up? This is Moppisippy. When I sub this guy, Strange might be drawing that I subs he make good drawing, but why don't remember subs this channel? How you doing, Mop? Good to see you, my friend. And so now I have a little bit of a brownish color, and as I do these kind of stray hairs, it's gonna actually look pretty good. So let's see how this goes. Just gonna pull this out. And let's see. Just like so. Now, it may work. I may have to go a little bit darker, but we'll see. Maybe a little bit of the detail black. I might have to go a little bit darker. Let's see. Because I don't want it to be mistaken for the trees, which is kind of a brownish color, right? So let's see. And I may have to go a little bit more opaque. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, I think that's the answer. And then kind of combine it. Otherwise, it's not going to look like hair, and it'll probably look a little bit more like an extended branch or something. So we don't want that. Okay. And then we have some errant hairs coming out here like this. There. Let's see. Here we go. And basically this is just to feel like she's actually in that background, right? That's important. There we go. Kind of feel the wind that's kind of, blowing her hair a little bit. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Let's see if we could go down here. Yeah, so down here again, we're gonna just have some hairs coming out. Well, welcome up, and good to see you. And if you have any questions, always feel free to let us know. Mop, where are you from? And we'll just come down here like this. Hey Dwayne, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I really appreciate you. Thank you so very much for the support and the friendship and your uh, great input and your advice on Wicked, because few people know about Wicked as you do. So you are an invaluable member to this community, and also your invaluable friend. So thank you so much for the support and your friendship, sir. I really appreciate you. You're amazing, sir. And I'll tell you, it's sometimes, doing live streams are up and down, but great people like you and everyone else, here, it really makes it so much better, and just something I always look forward to. Always, never take it for granted because of you guys. Hey, Muff, welcome from Canada. Good to see you. And we have Michael McClung. How are you, all the way from Baltimore? Great to see you, my friend. And thank you so much. And oh, thank you for helping me out. I really appreciate that, my friend. You are amazing. And, it really is great. So we have Michael McClung in the house, and that's always great to see him. So I'm so glad you're here, Mike. We're now Facebook friends, so that's good. Hey, Roy, Mr. Color Graphics, I'm so glad to see you. How are you, sir? All the way from New Jersey. That is great. So, very cool, Roy. And you can see just by doing this, I'm able to really get a feeling of, that she's just not pasted there, right? So with the paintbrush techniques, I could really get those little stray hairs, flyaway hairs, right? Is that what they're called? The ladies out there know about that. Flyaway hairs. I think that's what it's called. I try to listen to the ladies in my life, and when they talk about that stuff, I believe it's flyaway hair. Stray hairs, Mr. Todd says. Very cool. And Mop says he has a question. Do you know Popeye the Sailor Man? I draw paper and to pixel art. No, I don't. I don't. Does he have a channel, Popeye the Sailor Man, or is that actually the cartoon guy? But so you draw and paint on paper and pixel art. Okay, cool. Pixel art is fun. Definitely. Just like Mr. Todd said, some stray hairs. And I try to look at the reference when I'm doing this. You know, it's really important to look at the reference rather than try and make it up, because when we do, it's never going to look as good as the reference most of the time. Of course, there are some exceptions to the rule, but even when you make it up, it's based on past reference of, you know, looking at what's going on in nature. And then we're going to, now here's interesting. So there are some stray hairs over here. So I may change my brush. Let me just clean this out. I want something a little more exact. So let's see what we have. Let's see, what would be a good brush? The liner brush, if I can find it. Let's see, that's the Cotman #1. I like that brush a lot. I think I have it right here. Let's see. Okay. We'll see how this goes. Nope, I don't think this brush is really all it's cracked up to be. I have a better one over here, I hope. I think this one has seen its better days. So let's kind of retire this one over here. I need some new brushes. That's definitely, you know, watercolor brushes and acrylic brushes. So definitely need some new of them. So maybe this will be a good one. Let's see. So the next project, so the next time we meet, we're going to have a brand new project, which is going to be interesting as always. That's true. Popeye was a hero, definitely, and of course, you know, spinach was very important. Ah, thank you. Michael says that he likes the background, which is cool. Thank you, my friend. I enjoyed doing the background. I wanted to do it in the style of George Inness, the 19th century existential landscape painter. I think he was called, I think it was the no, it wasn't the existentialist. Let me see if I could figure that out. Hey Rick, thank you so much. I gave me $10 to buy a brush. I appreciate that, my friend. Rick, all the way from Canada. Thank you for your friendship and your support. I really appreciate you, sir. And I love my Canadian friends, and it's always just amazing to hang out with you, and just thank you for being such a great friend to the channel and making me know that I am doing the right thing, and you guys and girls are enjoying the live stream. So that's really important. Thank you so much, my friend. And I am going to go out and get myself a new brush because I do need one. That's for sure. And Dwayne says when he was a kid, there was a Popeye show, and he believed it was hosted by Tom Hatton. He used to draw Popeye and the other characters during the show. That's pretty cool. So Tom Hatton was like a kid's show host or something like that. We're the same age, but I don't know if that was actually happening over here on the East Coast. And what I'm doing is just putting in some of the hairs that are going into her scalp, and it looks wet and it's darker than it should be, but it actually goes ahead and dries pretty flat, which is good. And one of the places as a young kid I learned to draw. See, that is great. You never know, when we give back to kids, we just never know, what kind of effect we'll have on their lives, on their young lives and going forward. And look at Tom Hatton. He created a great artist, right? He helped inspire you, and then years later you're doing this amazing stuff with a tool as difficult as the airbrush. So it's amazing. It just, what we do for children is so valuable. It really is. So Mop says his first show is the Dalton Show, one of 4 Dalton brothers. Interesting. Now the Dalton brothers, is that another animated series or something like that, sir? Let's see if we could work on. So I'm kind of happy with what happened there, and maybe I could, maybe just a stray hair as I see right here, just like that. And Rick says, if you're ever out this way in Victoria, British Columbia, your door is always open. You'll have a place to stay. Can't promise we won't be painting together. Thank you, my friend. Rick, I appreciate that so much. I appreciate you and appreciate your friendship, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the super chat. That is amazing and just so great. And the super chats have been really fantastic. Each month they've been paying pretty much for my internet bill and a little bit of the PSE&G. So it really is amazing. It really adds up to something very, very substantial. So thank you for being a positive part of my life, guys and girls. And I'm just going to reinforce her eyelashes here, eyebrows, sorry. I always tend to make the eyebrows like very thin. And that's something I always did even as a youngster. I always made them thinner than they should be. And like I said, when we go ahead and put it on first, it's going to look very dark, but then it dries and it kind of falls back to the other colors. Now I did go ahead and not go in with colored pencils because I want to go ahead and clear this. And I'm going to be using the Gamblin Gavar gloss finish with this. And one of these days, if I get a spray gun, then I'll go ahead and I'll start using the clears that you guys use, Dwayne. That would be amazing. And Dwayne says, just looked it up. Tom Hat Popeye show was a KTLA show out of LA. Very cool. Wow, that is really interesting. So I'm sure he affected a lot of people. And what a great idea to have a show on Saturday mornings with cartoons and then art, right? That's fantastic. Some kids like yourself got a vocation out of it. That's amazing. So basically, when we're doing this, we want to make a painting, right? We want to paint what we see, but then to make a painting. And that's where, looking at, old master paintings and stuff, you can see what they did to make a complete work of art. And that's basically what I'm trying to do with this painting. And it's kind of like a breakthrough piece because, in airbrush, I rarely put backgrounds in. If I did, they were geometric forms. So now I'm coming in and getting much more uh, you know, complete painting kind of thing. So that's pretty cool. And Dwayne says he was a pretty young when he was on. Wow. So that was, you know, what, back in the 70s, right? Or early 80s, right, sir? And so we have the eyelashes. That's good. But let's see if we can do some of the stray hairs over here. Come over here. Yes, late 70s, early 80s, right? Definitely, Dwayne. That's probably, there was something here in the Northeast. If there's any Northeasterners here, does anyone ever remember Wonderama? It was very similar to what you're explaining, and it was like cartoons and stuff, but in between the commercials, the kids screaming and yelling, doing like games and stuff, kind of like that, you know. It was kind of like a madhouse. It was pretty crazy. Hey, John Diekman, how are you, my friend? Great to see you. How is everything all the way from Wisconsin? So glad you're here. And just doing some of those stray hairs. Yes, Oz says we are dating ourselves, carbon dating ourselves. That's true. Well, I was like negative 10 years old in the 70s and 80s, so yes. And it's so true, you know, I don't feel that age, although the mirror kind of tells me I am, but I don't feel it, you know. I try fighting it, you know, with, you know, being positive and all that other stuff, right? That is always best for us to do. And it's so important to get these stray hairs, that kind of like the stray hairs, as Mr. Air Todd says so poignantly. And so once we do that, then we're going to feel like she's part of the background. Then we're going to come in with some airbrush work, kind of work on some of these edges and kind of soften some edges to give depth and everything like that. That's important. And let's see right here. There we go. Very important to do that stuff. That's like the little touches that really makes it look like a painting, you know? It's very important to have that. And let's see, down here, so right where her hair kind of starts coming down by her shoulder, we have kind of a group of hairs here. There we go. And then we can look down here to see if there's anything that I'm missing, anything that's going to kind of increase the realism, and not only the realism but the believability of, you know, this young lady being out there in this environment. Then I want to work on her lips. That's important. I want to work on them. And so we're going to sort of have a game plan for tonight. And we're doing pretty good thus far. And I kind of like the way the hair looks. So that's good. We worked on the eyebrows. Not bad. Okay. So let's go ahead and wash out this brush here as soon as I can find the water. Yes, here we are. Okay, so we have this real interesting new design that a friend of mine is making. which is a whole kind of system of the funnel and a cap. See, it has little ink flingers logo on that. It's pretty funny. Very beautiful tech. Beautiful. And you see it has the mesh on there, which is really fantastic. And definitely, this is really very cool. So let's lift this off here. I'm just going to loosen this up. It has like a little ring here, and this all comes apart, right? And then we can go ahead and mix in our cup, and then from there we can use the strainer to put that right into our paint cup, which is pretty cool on our airbrush. Oh, so take care. So Mop, thanks for hanging out. And so it is 2 p.m. and it's time to sleep. Have a great night, sir. Take care. Oh, 22 p.m. Oh, 11 o'clock at night. Oh, definitely. Have a great night, sir. Thanks so much for hanging out. Okay, Mop? And you have a great weekend coming up. And I hope to see you next week, okay? So you said 22 means that's military time, definitely. Now, let's see. So we're going to, let's work on her lips. I think that's a good place to start. And I want to mix kind of a dark color here. Oh, very cool, Dwayne, very cool. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys a little technique I do for finding a color. It's just special for you guys, right? And so I'm going to see if I could bring up my program Krita. So here's Krita. Now, there is a way where I could show you guys this and girls this window. The only thing is we have to see if we're getting any kind of audio. We don't want to miss the audio, so I'm just going to come here and create. Okay, so I have this, and before I come in, I'm just going to set this up. It's just going to take one quick moment, and I want to bring in a picture of Angela here, Persephone. So let's see if I go here. Okay, so we're going to go pictures, new Persephone. Where is she? Okay, now I'm just looking for my reference photo. Where is she? Maybe she is in just regular Persephone. Let's see. And almost there. Let me see, guys. Where is she? She's probably in downloads. That's where I have a lot of my pictures. Oh, there she is in downloads. Yep. There we go. Okay, so so I have my reference, so we're almost there. And I'm going to show you how I find my colors. And it's a pretty cool way. So now I'm going to come over here and let's see. This program is pretty cool. I'm going to go here to layers and Krita. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to check my live stream and hopefully you all will start seeing Krita as opposed to my picture. So it might take a little bit. Now, do you guys see Krita right now? Let me know if you do. If you can see my Krita program. Oh, Air Todd says he needs that strainer. Oh, cool. Not yet, Dwayne. Okay, so I think I'm almost there. And so we're going to go a different route then. So let's close that. And then I'll just come here and I'll share screen, share window. And let's see if that does it. If not, it was a good thought, but this is a great way. I think I'm probably going to do a video of it, right? That's probably going to be the best route. And then here, maybe turn off USB. Nope, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do it. If I come here, still nothing. I'm going to try one more time, guys, and thank you so much for being patient. I appreciate you. I'll delete that and I'll delete this. We'll try one more time and we'll go to share screen, share window. Let's do share window and select an application for the list of open windows. Okay. But I think the fact of the matter is it's just not showing up. If I go ahead and put it in a different, so let's say if I go ahead and close this out and I testing 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear me okay? And you guys are my eyes and ears, so let me know if you guys can hear it. Hey Mike, how you doing? Great to see you. Chris, how's it going? Soundtrack in the background. You guys can hear me well? Great, so no weirdness in the sound or anything? Doing great, Mike. Great to see you. And Chris, great to see you. How was your birthday last week? And so I'm just going to check the audio over here. I think we're doing better. Okay, and you guys and girls can see the critter screen. You guys see that? That's great. Okay. So we're almost in business. Oh, I'm so glad you're doing okay, Chris. I'm sorry it was just okay. I hope it's better than okay. You deserve an amazing birthday, Chris. And I'm so glad to see you, Chris. And so glad to see you, Mike. Mike's all the way from California. Chris is from New York State. Great to see you guys. So glad you're here. So now we can get into how I find my colors. And it's really great because Krita has this color selector. And the color selector is really fantastic. So I'm going to zoom in. And you see I have my picture of Angela here. And so there's this color picker tool. And you have it with other programs such as Photoshop. I like Krita. Krita is free. It's amazing. And it's just great, you know. I like it, Mike, better than Photoshop because it's free. But it's really geared towards artists, and it's really cool. So you go on critter.org, www.critter.org, and you can download it for free, Mike, and check it out. And Color Graphics says Critter only works if it likes you. Well, hopefully Critter will like you guys. That's what I'm hoping. And but Critter is a very good program once you get to know it, right? And Chris says if it's free, it's for him. Yeah, thanks, Mike. You're going to like it. I really think you are. So I'm going to go and so I have my picture here. And what I'm going to do is you start out with just a regular canvas, right? So whenever you have this program, you start out with a regular canvas. So I'm going to delete this. So this is like a really good kind of tutorial for you guys. So what you want to do, this is your blank canvas, but if you go ahead and hit this push pin, what you do at this point is there's a little dialog box here, and you could do an add a reference image. So when you hit that plus, you can add a reference image, and of course our young lady here, she is in downloads, and there she is. So now I have this over here. This is our reference image, and it's better than something like Pure Ref because you can color pick this image, right? You can color pick it and find a color. So I'm going to just go ahead and go back to my drawing tool. So there's our painting, right? That's our reference material. And so if I want to find, let's say, what is the color of the dark of the creases in her lip, I'm going to go to that color picker tool, and I'm just going to kind of left click my mouse until I get the color of that dark, right? And what's interesting is when you look at this right here, which is this triangle, the outer circle is going to tell you what basic color it is. And remember that that basic color can only be in one place on that outer circle. So that outer circle is telling me this is the main color that I'm using. And it is almost like a naphthol red, like a pure naphthol red, right? If you guys know what a naphthol red is, almost like a Ferrari red. That would be our base color. Something like maybe this right here, or maybe a little bit more orangey. I would say, if I was going to go just a little bit, would be like the Wicked Red, right? But let's look at this triangle here. So if we take this triangle and go all the way down to the right corner, that is the paint at full saturation, right? That is the full saturation of paint. And those cups are disposable and reusable, definitely. And great question, honey. Thank you. And so this is the full saturation right here. Now, when you go into the leg of the triangle that's to the right, it's at full saturation. But as we are in full saturation, look what happens as we go up that leg. It gets darker and darker towards black. So this is full saturation adding black. Now let's go ahead and look at it conversely with the base segment. So on this corner, full saturation, but as we go along the base segment, it gets whiter, 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 whiter until it's fully white. So this corner is fully white, this corner is fully saturated, and this corner is fully black. Now, when we are looking to find, now we can actually kind of gauge how we're going to hit that color. So again, I'm just going to go back to the crease of her lips, and I'm just going to find the color of the crease of the lips. So right there, and you see that it's very close to full saturation, and it's a lot of black and just a little bit of white. So it's like a dark gray, and that's going to get us to that color. It's really cool. So remember, when you start out and use the color picker tool, it has to be somewhere on this triangle. These are all the colors in the rainbow here, all the colors, all the base colors. So it can't be in two places at once. So wherever it lands here, that's the color you start with. And then you ask yourself as it goes, is it going towards black? And is it going towards white? And is it fully saturated? So that's really going to help us. And it's a really great program because it never misses. And of course, it's going to give you a really good direction on how to get to that color, right? A good direction. And then you could change it for your own flavor, right? You know, color, we all see color differently. That's the amazing thing about color. It's just totally subjective, right? So now we're going to find that color. So I am going to come over here. We're going to make Critter small. And we're going to go back to our, so I'm going to this stage. Okay, so now with that information, we're going to go with our red that we wanted. Roy G. Biv has really gone high tech. It's so true. Roy G. Biv, red, orange, indigo, green, blue. No, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. I remember that from 5th grade and it stuck. Right? Isn't that great? And so we're going to add our strong red color. And we are going to go scene 1. And we're going to add, so I like to add my 4011 pretty quickly. We'll put that in there. And we'll mix this really well. So that's our red that we started with. Now we have to add quite a bit of black and, you know, like a dark gray. That's what it said, right? But still very close to that high saturation color, right? So I'm going to bring up Critter here. And so I'm going to add a very, very dark gray. So let's see, we're going to add, let's add some detail smoke. And black is pretty strong. It's going to do a number on this. And there we go. We see we have this deep color. But then we're going to add just a little bit of white, and we're going to see if we can arrive at that color and see if this technique really works. So let's add just a tiny bit of white. And this is going to be Detail White by Wicked. We'll do 1 drop, because remember it was calling for a black and a white, sort of a gray. And I'm going to go back to Critter and maybe just a tad bit more white, just a tad, and we're going to see what that does. Maybe too strong. I may be sorry I did it. Let's see. Just 1 shot, 1 drop. Okay. And that's pretty close to it. That's like really close to the color I'm looking for. Now, I'm going to go over to Critter and see if we can see that right here. So I'm going to go lighter because I think, you always go, the program will give you a general direction, but you can always, trust your own eye, right? You always want to trust your own eye. So let's put, oh, that was 2 drops. Let me see what that does. See, I like that better. That seems very close to that color. So you see how we kind of arrived at that color? And that will work for you no matter what color it is. That will help you to go ahead and arrive at that color and value you're looking for. And Mint says it's trippy how this is similar step to how he has to make his auto paints. Yeah, it's very similar, Mike, right? Very similar. So that's cool. And it's and you have to make a batch, right? So that's really important. And Chris says, sounds like I haven't lost my marbles yet. Thanks. That's always a plus. Sometimes it's kind of catch and going. What is it? I think I did lose my marbles. Sometimes it's what is it? What's that phrase? I lost my marbles. Sometimes it's touch and go. That's the word I've been looking for, my friend. So that's a really good way of maybe working that out, right? To get that color. So now we're going to use the paintbrush and see if it works. So we'll bring over Persephone here. And I'm going to get my paintbrush here. And let's see if we can use our paintbrush to get some of that really tight details here. We'll just move this over here like that. Okay, and let's see if we can zoom in and do this, guys. And let me get Critter out of the way. So that was not, I think I should have probably prepared for that technique, but it wasn't too bad, right, guys? Comes and goes, yes, Mike, that's true, Michael McClung. And Mint says, love that fall background, very appropriate. Thank you so much, Mike. That means more to me than you know. And I just appreciate you and appreciate you coming to this live stream. It means the world to me, Mike. So thank you. And we're just, see, now we have that color. It's so great. And you know what? We don't have to, only trust our eye. We have that program. So if you all ever do that and you have any questions, just message me or email me, and I'll be happy to go over that with you. I really would. And we can use this dark right here. Mr. Brad, how are you? Great to see you. Oh, I understand, Mike. Definitely. Life is like that, isn't it? It just seems like, everything just spins so fast. So I definitely appreciate that. So yeah, you coming and hanging out, when you can is more than great. And I'm just going to hit some of these dark reds here. And you can always hit that with your hands. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to come in with that pink color, right? So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this red that I have and I'm going to add it to white, and that's going to be my lip color. Brad, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I really appreciate that. That helps so much. And I just want to say thank you so much for your support and your friendship, Brad. It's everything to me. And thank you. Mike says he's got to call it a night, but keep up the great art, Tim. We got to have a phone call, Mike. We gotta touch base together. So I'm just happy to see you and continue doing great things with your auto body work, okay? And looking forward to seeing more pictures. So take care, Mike. And so, Brad, thank you so much for that, sir. Really appreciate you. So I'm going to mix that dark red, and I'm going to add some of this pink color. And I'm going to add a little bit more red. I think that's too light. So let's see. So since that's the dark color, I know the lighter color of the lips has to be in that same family, right? So I'm liking this. That's right in the same family. And notice I'm using these cups as opposed to what I was using before. These smaller cups are so much better. And it's part of that whole system that a friend and I are devising of actually using this as a paint strainer. So let's 4011 this a little bit more. Whoa. Okay. And now we'll mix this up, and then I'll show you how this paint strainer works. It's really quite ingenious. So now we have this, and I'm just going to blend this really good. With the Wicked paint, you have to blend it really well. Mix it really well for it to totally mix, and the chemical reaction and all that, especially the detail. And never do it above your painting like I'm doing. That's horrible. Okay. So, this will become a paint strainer. So this is like a collar, and watch this as I put this collar over it. And then the paint strainer goes like this, and it actually will be part of that cup. So you see how that cup is right there, which is really cool. I'm going to zoom out. So here you have the cup. Now this has a little cap that screws off. I'm going to take my painting away from all of this. And now what you can do, this is tightly affixed on there. It's not coming off. So now I can take this and use it as a paint strainer, and I'm going to strain out my paint, and I could wipe this off, and I could cover this, and now I have the paint covered and right there. That's one way of using it. There's several iterations of this and how it works, which is really great. And I'll go over the other. So now I have it neatly in my airbrush, and it's strained. And now we could go ahead and try and work on the lower lip and see how that goes. And let's test it out on another paper first. Similar. And let's see what I missed. Mike says, I see your paint brushes have split ends. Yeah, I'm getting new paint brushes, definitely, Brad. I mean, Michael, they are terrible. It's just been a while since I got some. I have very good oil painting paintbrushes, but not these. Okay, so now we have nicely strained paint, and let's see how this works. Keep our fingers crossed, guys. Great, now we're getting nice luminosity in her lips. Air Todd, thank you so much for the super chat, sir. You and Brad are so great. I appreciate yous. That is amazing. The last live stream of the month, you guys are really hitting home runs for me, and I really appreciate you so much. Thank you, guys. And I'm just spraying this. just ever so lightly to get that luminosity in her lower lip. And then it looks dark, so these darks look pretty dark, but we're going to put some lights next to that and maybe a deeper color lip color here. But I want to get the light here, which is nice. And so Todd, thank you for keeping the channel going. Thank you for your support and your friendship. You too, Brad. You guys are really helping me out. And it means a lot. You know, you guys are just amazing. And thank you for your support and your friendships. And thank you for just hanging out. And I'm going to thin this out a little bit more. I think that's a good thing. A little more 4011 in here. Sometimes you got to thin it out for it to actually spray right in your airbrush. Brad says, don't forget to hit smash the like button. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that, sir, so much. Oh, much better. Plus I had a little bit of a tip dry. Oh yeah, now it's responding the right way. Sometimes you have to do that, right? Sometimes you got to work a little harder. It makes you work harder. All right, so that's looking pretty good. And I want a deeper color than that. So what I'm going to do is to take this color here and I'm going to mix it with the red that I have. So how this works is you have this little collar here and you could turn this collar and then the collar falls off. And then your funnel comes off, and then you can just run this through water. And that cleans off perfectly, right? So you can use that funnel again. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another one of these. These 1 ounce cups are great. They're very inexpensive. I think I got 250 of them for like $8. So not a bad price. So I'm going to mix a little bit of that original red. And we're going to mix some of this white here, light color. And let's see what happens together. And I want a kind of a dark kind of lip color, sort of an in-between. There we go. And I can put that aside. And that's a good in-between. So I'm going to 4011 it, give it some volume, and thin it out at the same time. And thank you, Todd. Todd says you're welcome. And Chris says, speaking of hanging out, we need to get together and hit some galleries and museums. I would like that, Chris, definitely. I have a subscription to a membership to the Met, so I can get you into the Met for free. We both go there and look at some great paintings together. We got to do that, sir. That would be a lot of fun. So definitely we'll talk about that, Chris. All right, so I'm going to... Hey, what's up, Bill Snagan? Great paintings you're doing over there on your live stream. So glad you're here, sir. I'm so glad you're doing your live streams. They're very inspiring. I have a class during your live streams, so it's been a little bit rough trying to make it, but that's kind of my fault, you know. But your classes are second to none, and so I'm just going to put this. So just demonstrate how this works. This goes like this, and now I can kind of close this, and now this is affixed tightly. And now what we can do, it's nice and thin. I can put that in this airbrush here, and I could just go ahead and strain it. Just a couple of drops will do ya. And I can put that aside and bring back Miss Angela here. And let's see what we've got. Oh yeah, that's working out good. It's nice when your airbrush is doing everything you want it to do. Doesn't always work out that way, but especially during live streams. And let's see, cheese grits and NyQuil, Mr. Patrick, how you doing, sir? So that is great. And so really cool group we have today. Thanks everybody for making this Wednesday really cool, you know? Some days are rough, but these live streams are never rough because of you all. So this is a nice darker lip color. As McDonald says, I'm loving it. And so notice that I'm kind of shying away from the easy route of using colored pencils. I don't want to do that. It would make life so much easier, but I don't want to. I want to stay with the paints. If I want detail, I'm gonna hit it with the brush and the Wicked paints. I just want to stay with the Wicked paints, and that's important to me. Just my own personal challenge. No big deal. It's not a gauntlet I'm sending out to anyone else to do. It's just something that feels right to me. So I'm going to kind of go over the red area there. So that looks really nice, and now I'm going to let that dry a second. Then I'm going to come back in with the lighter color, and then we'll do some paintbrush techniques to kind of do little wrinkles in her lips. But right now you can see her lips are looking more full, which I really enjoy, you know, and doing justice to the beautiful model who posed for me years ago. I lost touch with Angela. I hope I get to paint her again. Lower that air pressure just a little bit. Okay, here we go. There we go. Nice luminosity on Mel's lips there. Okay, and then come back in with this color once more. Just a little bit on top there. Okay, now we are going to use a very light color, and it's going to be this color, and I'm going to add some white to that, and we're going to use my funky paint brushes. Actually, I have a nice paintbrush here. I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to add some white to it. And remember, it doesn't always come out smooth, right? You have your tough painting sessions, but what's the takeaway is just to fight through it, right? Just say to yourself, I'm going to do this. No one's stopping me. And let's see if this color works. Yes, it does. And so what's important is that this highlight is really low on the lip, right? So, and we're just going to make sure that we get the shapes and the softness of it. And then right here. There we go, and maybe, all right, so right here we had that crease, And we're going to do that little bit of light on the side of that crease there. Just like so. And then there's one here. And then right here we have these little highlights that are right above the corners of the top corners of her lip there, her upper lip. And to get that moisture in her lip there, which is nice. And now I'm going to go ahead and reestablish that dark. Thanks, Mr. Bill says, looks great. That means a lot to me. And Patrick, what's going on over there in Patrick all the way in Massachusetts, and we have Bill all the way in Jersey. So great to see the Northeast again represented. So good to see you guys. I'm going to come in with that dark color again, that original dark color. And let's see if I could pull it out from here. Let's see how this goes. And again, we're going to do that dry brush technique. And there we go. Maybe a little bit darker, yeah? I think so. There we go. Just a little bit of a crease. That's a little dark, so I'm just going to tap that and just lighten that up a bit. Let's see if I could hit this dark here. Sort of that crease in her lips here. And then right here. Gives her a little bit more of life, right? And thank you, Michael. Michael says that, you know, all my paintings look awesome. Thank you, my friend. That is so great of you to say and encouraging. And Michael says he's gonna. He has to call it a night. Michael, thanks for hanging out. And I hope to see you either on Steve's live stream tomorrow or sometime during the week. So always a pleasure talking to you, and I hope you have a great weekend, sir. Thanks so much for coming by, Mike. Thank you. Definitely an honor. So notice I'm coming in with this red color, especially in like the nostrils, you know, because it is a dark red. It's never a black, very rarely a black. So a dark red will give life to areas such as the nostrils. And then we'll just move that over like that. And maybe just a little bit of an edge here on this far nostril that we can hardly see. And we have a little bit of a crease here. So remember, if you have light pressure, it's going to be light as far as the value is concerned. Okay. And let's see, what else can we do? We have this kind of reddish pink in our brush here. There's a red here right along the under part of her eyelid. Let's take a look real close. See that? It's a little harsh, but that's pretty cool. And then we have it on her other eyelid, other part of her eyelid. So let's see right here. There we go. Super light. If you do a light touch, it's going to be a light version of that color. So I'm just basically kissing the surface like that. And then I could just rub that. If I need to lighten it, but it's okay to be a little vibrant in your color. It's okay. There we go. So it's going to translate from afar. So when we zoom out, that looks really, really much more vibrant. Brad says she's looking great. Thank you so much. And I appreciate that. You know, Cheese Grits and NyQuil says he has to go to bed. Looks fantastic. Thank you, my friend. And looking forward to this weekend when we work on painting Madonna together. So that's great. Looking forward to that. I'm going to wash this brush out really well. And let's see. So we'll revisit the lips, but I'm pretty happy with them thus far. And oh, we wanted to do some edge work, like right in here. Maybe work on some of the edges here. I think that would be important. So let's see if we can do that. So I have this kind of lighter color here. Let's go ahead and use this airbrush, and I'm going to clean it real quick. I'm going to dump out this color that I have. Put that back in. And so I have this, which I made with an empty milk bottle. I cut a hole, put paper towels in, and then I spray in there. And pretty much it's much better than just spraying in your garbage can. And it's not perfect by any means, but it's better, right? That's how I look at it. And just gonna make sure I get rid of everything that's in this airbrush here. Great. And we'll go ahead and wipe that out. So what the color we're needing is a dark, right? A pretty dark color, like right in here. I want to kind of, I want to kind of work on this edge here. So what I want to do is I want to mix the burnt umber, put this over here, get myself another cup. And we're going to take some burnt umber. Here it is, detail burnt umber. And this is the very end of the painting. So we're kind of just doing finishing touches here and there. So I'm putting some burnt umber, and I'm going to put some of that smoke. I just love that smoke color, so we'll put more of that detail smoke. You guys are all so great with the super chats today. Thank you for your support. And so that is super encouraging. And some days I need encouragement more than others, so I really appreciate you. So now I have this kind of rich black that's not really black. And now let's 4011 it. I like 4011ing it 50-50 because it sprays well. So, 50% paint, 50% 4011. Just mix that really well. And this is going to give me a deep dark. Now here's a second way of using these funnels, is that you can take the funnel separately, right, like this, and you could just put it on your airbrush. Let's move this aside. So you have it on your airbrush like this, and then you just put this in here. Not too much. And then there's a little mesh in there, And when you take that, you have fully strained paint in your airbrush. Now, I like doing this more when my airbrush is in its cup holder, because that's a lot easier. And then I just run this through water, and then it's totally clean. So these funnels are really great solutions, especially, you know, if you're not sure what you're going to paint in, because it actually works well with those 1-ounce cups that are so inexpensive. You can get them on YouTube, right? So now we'll put the top back on. And let's see what kind of spray we're getting. Okay, nice and dark. Very good. All right, so my whole thing is to basically kind of soften things up here and there. And so we're going to soften up some of these edges. Because in the beginning we were using stencils and stuff like that, and this kind of helps soften it up. Plus, I can come in with the dark of her zygomatic bone over here, or cheekbone. And now we can really kind of put emphasis and some nice contrast, which we all love. There we go. Really enrich this. Right over here, super soft. We had a little bit of blue shift earlier in the painting, and we could go ahead and take care of that, which is nice. And let's see, so this is really off to the side. That's much better, right guys? Okay. And right over here. Oh, so off to her shoulder. So if I look at her shoulder, this is all super soft edge. And I have a little bit of a hard edge. Just a residual from the paint, the hair stencil that we were using. And I'm just going to soften this up nicely. And I'm not going to oversaturate it, right? We're just going to hit it. Now, all of these, you know, a lot what I do is what I do when I work in pastel, when I work in oil. It's all about seeing and, you know, knowing the great paintings, the great painters, and what they did to create their works of art. And, you know, just the harmony of color and light and shade, that sort of stuff. So that's important, and that's what we'll keep in mind, you know, in these final stages of the painting. Right here, this dark here, it's a little bit darker, so we're just going to enrich that a little bit with this here. So we're going to be very careful. I'm going to have a good amount of space, so maybe about 3 inches away. And I'm just going to make this stronger. And making this dark stronger kind of echoes the branch of the tree and creates sort of a harmony. So I like doing stuff like that and having that thought process of design, and not just painting what we see, but also think about design and what's a good design. And this color is interesting, and now that I look at it, I can kind of bring this color into the tree here. Kind of reiterate some of these little branches here. Just do stuff like that. And free is good. And so Mr. Bill says free is good. How is it spelled? Oh, is that Krita that you're thinking of, that program? That's Krita. So yeah, Krita.org. That's a great program. If you're referring to that, Mr. Snakin. I'm just going to come in and darken her hair here. There was a little bit of a blue shift, and you know, with hair, it's so easily fixed. And this is like a warm dark, so adding the warm dark to the base of her hair is a good thing. It's all about color balance. And let's see here. Move her down here. Okay. Okay, so we have a dark that comes at the base of her hair. So we'll make sure that this happens just right here. And then maybe there's a dark here. Okay. Now there's this dark right here, this cast shadow. If I look, it's a little bit more of a hard edge than I originally had seen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my freehand shield, and I'm just going to darken or make this edge a little bit more strong. Now remember, if we go parallel, I could actually create that line and go right over her face, and that would be just tragic, wouldn't it? So I'm going to go parallel, and by going parallel, I'm not going in that other direction, right? So I'm going away from where it would be a tragic mistake. And remember, parallel and not perpendicular. No, perpendicular and not parallel, right? So now we have that kind of strong, harder edge, because when I took the photo, I was using a smaller light source. So in photography, if the light source is smaller, then you're going to have harder edges in shadows such as this. And that's basically what happened, right? And so being the photographer of this particular painting, I remember the light situation, and I remember that dark has to be, that shadow has to be more of a harsh shadow. Now a larger light source, if you have a really large umbrella or something, that would create a soft shadow. But since, you know, it was a smaller light source, and you can see in the catch light of her eyes how small that light source was. So all of that is really important. That's why it's great to, you know, learn portrait photography if you're going to be a portrait painter. It really just is a game changer. It really is. Super game changer. So that is really cool. All right, so getting to the bottom of this, and now at the base of this, I'm going to make it darker. You know, where the tree line is, I'll make this a little darker. Just give some gravity to the scene, that the trees aren't floating in air, right? We don't want them floating in air. And we're just going to darken it. Okay. And again, just kind of letting things happen, making things happen. Right here, I'm going to say, what if I come in very lightly with this dark? Will it create a nice soft halftone? And I think it is. We just have to be super soft with this and kind of far away. And then we can create a nice halftone. But we have to be careful. Just a little halftone right there. That worked out, thank God. Okay. Now right here with her breast, we could kind of make a nice hard edge here. It's a little soft. Perpendicular, not parallel. Wipe off the freehand shield in between. And remember, a painting's like a battle, right? You're just going to stick with it. You're going to work things out, and you're not going to give up. And it's going to be a struggle, especially with airbrush, right? You're going to have your airbrush spitting and doing things you don't want it to do. And you might have to stop painting and go ahead and work it out, and that's okay. There we go. And having that hard edge really shows the light that's right there, which is nice, so I like that. And let's see, I'm going to take a quick water break. Now, where is my water is the question. Let's see. Okay, so getting towards the end, and what I like to do at the end of a painting is always ask myself, what are some things I can do to make it better, right? And then I write down several things that I can do to make it better. And so one of the things, when I look at it, I could actually accent a little bit of the white of the eyes on the light side. So I may do that, and let's see, that might be a good decision. Chris says, good things we are true professionals. This might be the part where the breast jokes come. That would be bad. Yes, Chris, good thing we are professionals, sir. And so important. And I appreciate your humor, my friend. Let's see, so I have my Wicked here, my Wicked white. And of course, we're going to mix that with our 4011. Even though we're doing some brush work, we're still going to use 4011. As Mr. Leahy said, something about 4011 and the way that the paint reacts to it is really nice. So he has a wealth of knowledge. So if we're going to listen to anyone, you know, someone like with Wicked, someone like Mr. Dwayne or Steve, they're the Wicked masters, right? Scott McKay, those are the ones that we definitely listen to. Okay, so right here, I'm going to very lightly, and it's very, very saturated, right? I mean, it's very diluted, so we can just lighten this part. And let's zoom in and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. So right here, I'm just kind of kissing that white of the eye there. Just ever so lightly. And you know, with the airbrush, you know, we love the fact that it makes everything smooth, but in the painting world, if you look at work like by Johannes Vermeer and Rembrandt, it's not really all that smooth. And it's okay, you know, it really is. And then right here, we're going to just kiss the surface here. As Jimi Hendrix says, excuse me while I kiss the sky. There we go. There's just a little bit of light right there, and maybe just a little something right there. There we go. And now that we're here, there's a little something right on the edge of her eyelid. And then right along here, of course. A mallet fat pad coming down over here. And let's see the other part of the under eye. And then right here, we have a little bit lighter here. And I'm very transparent with this white, and white can be transparent, so you can see through it. I mean, it has transparent qualities. Of course, it's never going to be a transparent color, but it has transparent qualities when you do this stuff to it. And I have some hard lights on her forehead. And let's see if we could make that happen. More 4011, please. So right here, and so this is when you do stuff, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? It looks fine. You just want to push it a little bit. See if you can make it better than it was. And we'll zoom out. Hey Pam, all the way from Virginia. How are you? Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. How you been? Happy autumn. There we go. Just a little bit of a highlight going here. And just paint what we see. And this is, of course, the frontal bone, just as it reaches the glabella, which is in between the two eyebrows, where the frontal bone goes in, and that's what gives us our profile, and then the nasal bones come out from there. There we go. So that is actually a good decision. So you see that, even though, you're like, oh my God, what are we doing? But that really is a good decision, just to show some of those specular highlights that are on that part of her frontal bone or forehead. And always pay attention to your reference and also your knowledge of anatomy, those two things. And this kind of creates just a little more, oh, I'm so glad you're doing good, Pam. So glad you're here. And then, so we're at the state now, Pam, in this painting where we know it's done, but we're asking ourselves, what can we do to make it just a little bit better? Is there anything we can do to kind of take it to that next level, right? And that's where we are right now. Just asking ourselves those questions. And then here we have, now always do that 1 second rule. See where, where you can make it better, but always make sure you paint what's there. Because this is where you could lose it. You can lose all the hard work that you did during the painting. So we're getting so close to the end of this painting. And now we're sort of at that highlight stand, in her hair. Are there any highlights or anything? Maybe we can do a couple of lights here, some specular highlights right here. That wouldn't hurt, right? Just some things that we can do to take our painting to that next level. And I'm using a very 4011 diluted white. So we're looking for some specular lights here and there. And that's photography talk. Just, because if we're using reference from a photograph, we have to know what the photographer is doing if we're not the photographer. So specular highlights happen when you're using something like a beauty dish or something like that where the light is more concentrated. You're going to get those specular highlights. I'm going to come back here, maybe just kind of put some accent highlights here. That's a little strong. There we go. And maybe something here. And if anyone is interested in this painting, just instant message me. That would be great if anyone's interested in purchasing this painting. And I'm not being presumptuous, and maybe no one is, and that's cool too. So there's this light right between her eyes, just as the nasal bone is coming out of the glabella, right here. But notice that it's not as bright as her highlight. And you know, these little changes that seem to be not important are going such a long way in creating a much more sophisticated portrait than just the way it was before. So just these little things. Ah, thank you. So Pam says that her eyes are beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's such a great model. I wish I still had contact with her. It's hard to find models, you know, people, and rightfully so. They're not so trusting. It's pretty scary. So some guy asked them to pose, you know. But once I have a model that, you know, she works with me and she's cool with me and I'm cool with her, I hold on to them, you know, and you'll see I use them in a lot of paintings. So here is the anguli, the depressor anguli oris coming down here, this muscle. There we go. Now she's really, really starting to have real dimension. And then right here is the mental fat compartment right here. It's kind of building up those lights. And now she's really starting to come to life. I really feel that way. And I would have been okay to just leave it be and say it's done. But when you do those things where you say to yourself, what can I do to make it better? Can I do anything to make it better? And that's where the magic happens, because then you have your list, right? Okay, so I'll start doing some of these highlights, right? And that will help. And like right over here, there's this light coming down. There we go. Okay, so that's not bad. And let's see, any specular highlights over here, maybe just a couple. Do some little lights here. So, you know, this is like the end of the painting, right? So, you know, you're going to push it and you're going to see how far you can take it before you call her complete. So next week we have a new painting we're going to do. I don't think I'm going to be doing it on the shellac. I think I'm going to be using hardboard with my gesso mixture and see how that goes. And that's going to be fun because it's totally different. It's a different experience working on this. This is a great medium because it's on a thin piece of paper and it's very inexpensive and it works well with different techniques, and that's why I love it. But sometimes if you have a hardboard or a canvas, you could use that too, you know. That's not to say that those other tools are not fantastic. They really are, right? And let's see, I'm going to wash this off, and then I'm going to kind of work on those tree trunks a little bit because they're not quite the way I want it. They're a little light. And oh, so Pam says, do I do other things like different mediums or other things than just paint people, right? So and be happy to answer that. Now I paint just about every medium because of all those years of art school I was blessed to have. Oh, I'm not against animals. I mean, they're great subject matter. It's not probably what I gravitate to. I do still lives and I also do landscapes. But as far as, you know, animals, I should do it, but it just hasn't really struck me as something to do. Uh, but they are great subject matter, right? Paint a polar bear. Oh, you're working on a polar bear. Is that true? Polar bears are scary, huh? We're on their menu, right? That's the scary part about polar bears. There's one of the animals they say, "Oh, look at that guy. He's lunch," you know? So polar bears, I can imagine the white, right? And how white is not white. It's affected by all the colors around it, right? So that's very important to uh, so right here I'm just going to work on there's like a little bit of a weird blue shift happening here, and I can just kind of get rid of it with this dark color on my brush. And I'm really looking forward to doing varnish on this. It's gonna hopefully really start popping. Dwayne says he's used to painting on hard surfaces. Paper doesn't work for him. I'll take an aluminum panel or gesso board. Yeah, that's great, and see, I'm the opposite, right, Dwayne? Because I'm so used to working on paper. For the last 5 years, I almost worked exclusively on paper. And so when I decided to put the shellac on it, so what's interesting, when I shellacked it, it does give it the same feeling as a hard surface. It really reacts the same way as, let's say, hardboard. So it's very cool, but still I do like working on hardboard as well. Hard surfaces, there's a certain feeling that a hard surface has when painting, right? Has a certain give to it. And paper is wonderful because it has more of a fine art feeling to it, right? It just is more organic the way that the paper kind of reacts to the surface. So there's great qualities of both, right? And but yeah, I'm looking forward to working on the board next week. And I'm going to do a very light underpainting. And the underpainting is going to be more of a color underpainting as opposed to black and white. So it's going to be a very interesting technique that I'll be sharing with you all. That's the plan thus far. We'll see how that goes. Okay. So that is getting close to completion, guys. So that is basically what I'm going to do. I'm just going to end it here. I know it's a little bit early, but I think I'm happy with it. And what do you guys think? Did it come out okay? A lot of different things happening in this painting, and maybe I'll do some touch-ups here and there. Oh, thank you. Pam likes her nose. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. She does have a nice nose to paint. And so that was really great. Thank you, everybody. So 11:19, I usually go to 11:30. So thank you, Dwayne. I really appreciate it. I really loved it. I'm going to give my airbrushes a real deep cleaning tonight because they don't always working the way I want them. And usually I'll just stop and go ahead and wash them out. But it was mostly paintbrush here at this stage. So I may go ahead and off camera maybe just fix some edges here and there after I really give these a once over, and so I could work on that probably tomorrow. But I'm happy with it thus far. And Chris, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You guys are all amazing, and thank you everyone for the wonderful conversation. Oh, you're welcome, sir. And let's make it a birthday month, right? That's cool. So your birthday's still going on, and I hope something really amazing happens for your birthday. And thank you so much, Pam. I appreciate it. You're fun as well. And you guys and girls are all so fantastic. I hope to see everyone next week, and I really hope everyone has a great weekend. Special thanks to Air Todd, Brad Mummery. Special thanks to Rick, all the way from British Columbia. Dwayne, thank you so much, my friend. You guys are just fantastic, and you guys are like the cherry on top, you know. And thank you, everybody. And thank you for working with me with that whole critter thing. Next time when I go ahead and put that in, it's going to be a lot smoother. I can feel it. Take care, guys, and I hope your Thursday is a lot of fun. We can only hope, right? Bye, guys.